How was it stepping back to the server, facing the crowd again?
Oh, I mean, it's fun being on stage. There's no doubt about that. I would love to have been at like more serious situation. I'm glad we could entertain people here. But yeah, being on stage, it makes you think about playing again, of course. And oh man, this is a good time. But today is a little different. It's easy to just kind of having fun, trolling a little bit on stage. And I'm glad everyone seemed to have a good time in the crowd.
Well, but many people nowadays is like having this nostalgic idea about CS:GO, right? And you've seen every meta come and go probably. What's one thing today players have that you wish you had on your prime?
Let's see. I mean, it's hard because it seems kind of intangible, but like towards the end of my career, I felt like you can get away with being strong in some areas and not so much in others. I feel like now you have to be super well rounded. And I think, to keep it short as I can for this answer, in NA, we had some insecurities around our play at different levels. And I think that bleeds into yourself as a player. I think now more than ever, I see it more clear that a lot of these players now, it seems like there's a certain level of poise that all five players need, at least 4 out of 5 aside from but really to be a top 5 team. And but other than that, a lot of stuff is the same. The engine of CS2 changed a little bit, physics and movement changed a little bit, but the core components are still there. You just got new and younger players coming every year.
And something you think they are missing from CS:GO?
I think, the engine itself being like, it's essentially like a 64 tick, sub tick weird system. It's cool that Premiere and matchmaking and the pros are all playing on the same server, so to speak. But I do think the engine is somehow limited, and maybe I don't know the full picture, but it seems like that maybe is worse. The game is like a little heavier, so to speak, and should feel a little bit lighter and more fluid than it does now. But it's definitely better than it was at launch.
And why do you think that European Counter Strike improved that much that NA is now struggling?
Well, NA is just one country. Each country, some people have international teams, but each country has, you have veterans and leaders that have to pass on knowledge. I felt like in North America, we had kind of some of the teams I was on, maybe like I was one of the veterans, but I was also one of the younger guys coming into my position as being one of the best players. And it's hard to say, but sometimes I think these other countries, they had, like, if you look at their trajectory and chronology of their countries, like their leadership, I feel like passed down. I mean, Denmark, for instance, maybe right now, there's not a lot of Danish people. What is it in the playoffs? But for a streak there, you guys had this succession of teams, and then when that inter-country stuff implodes a bit, it has this effect where it kind of dissolves some of the chemistry through the scene in that country. And I feel like North America, it's such a polarizing region because we have such good, economic scene, right? With all the media around North America, sponsorships is good, but our actual development of our players went through just like a chaotic period of like streaming and some people not caring and people getting banned, and just not quite having the best environment. I mean, we've always had, you look at players like EliGE, Twist, Stewie, Automatic, myself at one point, Skadoodle here.
Not a matter that maybe the Americans are more console related during the last years?
I think that affects it, but we have a lot of people in our country, obviously, but we'll see. I think the leadership thing is big. I don't know how many good IGLs we still have here that are actually from America. It's like Stanislaw, and he's not even on one of these teams here in the playoffs. Maybe I'm drawing a blank, but yeah.
Yeah. You also been playing a few competitive matches recently, and from inside the scene, do you see a bit of laziness or lack of hunger in upcoming NA talent?
It's hard for me to say not being on these teams. A lot of people are probably eager. They just might not have the right direction. From my perspective, it's incredible when you're inside a team sometimes how fine the line is of performance. Sometimes people are so in their own heads or they believe something and they have these limiting perspectives about the team. And I've thought about coaching sometimes just because of this, just because I see some teams and these little things you can tweak some little stuff sometimes and get some great results. And I think it's always really a matter of that when you have talented players.
What do you have to wait to see you coaching?
I've just been focusing on a less travel based lifestyle and have 2 kids now and beautiful wife. And it's just, um, after 10 plus years of traveling, is such an honor for me to be able to do what I do. Coaching would be fun. Me and my wife talk about it, like as we settle down, the kids get older, you could try it. Cause, as long as I catch up to the meta, my practical foundation will be there for a long time. And so, coaching you never know, maybe.
That's nice. Well, EliGE was the only American talking about the players that get to the playoffs. Did you feel well represented by him? Any comments about what happened with FaZe, with Simple?
Yeah, I mean, the whole time I saw, like, I thought in my mind, like, FaZe, maybe Falcons, like, these teams are the ones that are probably can scare Vitality in a certain way because they're experienced players they have on their team when the playoffs, when the match gets rolling, and everyone gets comfortable. So it was unfortunate that they went out. I can't say much beyond what's going on in their team. They didn't have much time to get into a role. Yeah.
Do you think like EliGE is well representing, for example, players like you that are part of a decade, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. EliGE himself has had a lot of different variations of self-improvement and things because he's obviously a phenomenal player. And as a teammate and contributor, and I've heard only that he's been, improving every year.
Well, last one. If you were building an NA all-time dream team, who's your 5 and why?
Ooh. NA all-time dream team. I would like to be on it with, maybe like a Stu, Twist, Automatic, Skadoodle or something. Like,
You.
yeah, myself, like, no disrespect to Shroudy or something, but like, he would joke about like not being a dynamic player or something. I would love if Mike had that drive. He just didn't have that burn always, but, something like that. Or even Tarek. I always thought Tarek at the time was underrated, like, because he's become such a big streamer. People don't talk about it a lot, but he was a really level-headed, solid player. So it's not maybe the clearest answer, but yeah, something like that. Yeah.